Coming up on Focal Point, the election results are in. An MSU student will sit on the East Lansing City Council board and find out what happened with the income tax proposal.
I'm Treasure Roberts here at the Wharton Center, and in just a moment I'll take you on an inside look at the 45th annual Black Power Rally.
And still developing, 2 students riding mopeds were struck by a truck. More details ahead. Focal Point starts now.
Welcome to Focal Point. I'm Katie McCoy.
And I'm Gabriella Galloway. 2 MSU students were involved in a serious moped car crash yesterday morning.
The incident happened on the intersection of Chestnut and Shaw around 10 a.m. The students, both female, were stopped at a red light on Shaw in the intersection when a GMC pickup truck crashed into them from behind. Neither were wearing helmets and both were admitted to Sparrow Hospital, one suffering a serious head injury, the other with non-life-threatening injuries.
The 2 occupants of the truck were not injured. The crash is still under investigation. It's something everyone may experience at some point in their lifetime. You may feel your heart racing, dizziness, or your hands shaking uncontrollably.
But many won't talk about it. Anxiety is becoming a growing disorder in America. A recent New York Times article details how anxiety cases are on the rise.
Focal Point's Kayla Robinson joins us in the Spartan newsroom now with details on how prevalent this has become in our society.
That's right, Gabriella. The article stated that the mental health disorder affects nearly 1/3 of both adolescents and adults. So common that it's often very easy to overlook.
Big groups of people, go get to parties by myself, just anything of that sort of nature freaks me out.
MSU student Jordan Lampton struggles with social anxiety.
Sometimes I just have to calm myself down and be like, it's literally just a phone call. There's no reason to freak yourself out over it.
Mental disorders like anxiety can come about for a variety of reasons, including school stress or personal life struggles.
All the new unique experiences and pressures culminate and tend to increase anxiety a lot.
Leslie Johnson is a specialist at the Resource Center for Persons with Disabilities, and she says big life changes, such as transitioning from high school to college, contribute to the anxiety issues plaguing young people in today's society.
We're such a large campus, and the good thing about that is we have so many resources and places for people to go.
But Jordan Lampton says she has been looking for ways to explain what anxiety really is, especially to college students, because many confuse anxiety with daily stress.
Oh, I have a lot to do. That is not anxiety. You're stressed about it, but it doesn't consume your thoughts. You don't have to take medicine every single day because you have a test and it stresses you out.
And this can be very frustrating to Lampton.
Anxiety is being so fixated, during your stats exam, what if I fail? What if this happens? I have to retake the class.
Johnson encourages students to seek out places like the RCPD after getting a documented diagnosis from a doctor.
And ask different questions like what impacts they experience, key areas like major life functions.
Students are often hesitant to talk about their issues because they're afraid there might be something wrong. Lampton says it's important not to keep it bottled up.
It's okay to tell your friends. All my friends know, people at work know, yeah, that's why I'm like this sometimes.
Lampton says having that support system there truly makes a difference and is very helpful in getting her through her anxiety. She also recommends counseling for anyone experiencing these issues. Katie, back to you in the newsroom.
ASMSU registered students to vote than they had in previous years, and student voices were heard. This election day, an income tax proposal failed, and an MSU senior won a seat on the East Lansing City Council. Focal Point's Chloe Keipel breaks down East Lansing election results, what it means for the city and the students.
Being young, you're under a little bit more scrutiny.
At 21 years old,
When you win an election, they're going to have to deal with you for your term.
Aaron Stevens has cinched his spot on city council. He beat incumbent Susan Woods by more than 300 votes.
He's so grassroots oriented that he really cares about issues of the students and of the residents of East Lansing.
Stevens will join Ruth Bayer, who won a second term on the council.
Are you here to vote?
While voters put Stevens in office, they turned down an income tax increase.
Because it would further create a disincentive for people and businesses to locate in East Lansing.
Dr. Fisher is a professor of economics.
The tax proposal was that East Lansing would have become a much less attractive place for young families.
If the measure had passed, residents and Michigan State employees would have had to pay 1% of their total earnings to income tax.
That would have totaled nearly $5 million for the city.
But since the measure failed, people are wondering where that money is going to come from now.
The city has told us that what comes next will be
cuts to various programs.
The city's website says deep cuts would need to be made to areas such as public safety, which worries Tyler Van Heist from ASMSU. Councilmember Ruth Bayer said they have a few options, including closing the fire station on campus, selling an ambulance, reducing police and fire staff, or increasing a property tax. This issue will be one of the first for Aaron Stevens. He's sworn in on Monday, and the city council will meet on November 21st. In East Lansing,
These are new voting machines. So
Stevens is a Democrat who has organized for Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Democrats across the nation had success on Election Day. The House of Representatives passed its version of a tax overhaul Thursday that could affect every American household and business owner. The final vote was 227 in favor and 205 against, with no Democrats supporting it. After nearly a year of trying to pass legislation, GOP leaders say it puts them closer to delivering President Donald Trump's agenda for the biggest revamp of the U.S. tax system in over 30 years. The bill package calls for the reduction of the corporate tax rate from 35% to 20%, the elimination of the student loan interest deduction, and increases to the child tax credit. Personal income tax rates for many would be reduced through some deduction, and credits would be reduced or eliminated. The legislation now heads to the Senate.
Firearm deer hunting season started on Wednesday, and experts are saying it's going to be an especially good season for hunters. There will be more deer to hunt this year. Last year's mild winter meant higher deer survival rates. Bow hunters have already had success with victories like the buck you've been shown. Before you mount your prize on the wall, however, the Department of Natural Resources urges you to do one thing first.
We encourage everyone to have their deer tested for chronic wasting disease. That's kind of the big story right now, especially in the Lansing area, and we've found some new deer over in Montcalm County to the west as well, tested positive for CWD.
Thousands of deer have been screened and close to 10 have been tested positive for the disease. The closest check station is at the Rose Lake Field Office.
The national gun debate took to localized approach last week with the Michigan State Senate to allow guns in more places.
The bill, if passed through the House, would allow guns to be carried in traditionally gun-free zones, such as schools and churches, as long as the gun owner goes through an additional 8 hours of training. Focal Point's Christian Barrington takes a look at the debate here in mid-Michigan.
We're loading what we call a magazine that goes into the bottom of the semi-automatic pistol.
It's an American hot topic. Guns, the Second Amendment. In light of the 317 mass shootings this year, the Michigan Senate approved a bill that would allow concealed pistol licensors to carry in places such as churches or schools. This has been met with support from Connor Sullivan.
I can understand where the lawmakers are saying that they want to put that bill out there. If you were going to be an active shooter, where would you go? You'd go to the places that are labeled gun-free zones because nobody's else. There's no threat to you. You're the only one with a gun in the joint.
And disdain from Angie Stojanowska.
It's not always the right thing to just shoot the attacker or whatever it is. You don't know what's going on from a criminal justice perspective, from a psychological perspective,
But how does one get a CPL in the first place?
Got a gun before they're allowed to get
Demer
the
Center's
CPL,
Al Vanston Keesty explains.
License. We usually put them through a basic pistol safety class, which is 8 hours long. And then after they have completed that class, then they go on to the concealed pistol license class, which is the personal protection in the home. And then after that, we bring them here to the range and we have to shoot.
While there may be general disagreements on how guns should be handled, all three agree that
divide and everything. It's just yes or no Trump. Okay, no, not gonna talk to you. Yes or no guns. Okay, you're one of them. It's a very black and white issue, and it should not be. That's one of my main.
In East Lansing, Michigan, Christian Barrington, Focal Point News.
The bills will face a House vote in the coming weeks.
A breakfast honoring the nation's military topped off Veterans Day morning on MSU's campus. With opening remarks from President Luana K. Simon, veterans and their families enjoyed the breakfast put on by the MSU Veterans of America chapter, supported by ASMSU. The MSU Orchestra provided the music for the third annual event, while Marine Corps veteran Cassie Michael and a group of MSU student veterans spoke to the crowd, telling them what it's like transitioning from military life to student life.
I think it's really rich to have the student veteran perspective directly from the students. I have the pleasure and honor of working with the students on a day-to-day basis, so to allow others across campus to have that perspective of what student veterans experience prior to entering the university, during their time in the military, and now as student veterans, I think is a really valuable experience for our audience.
The Sparrow Thoracic and Cardiovascular Institute is one of Lansing's leading sources for cardiac care. Now with a major upgrade unveiled, they can provide more care with upgraded technology. Focal Point's Michael Epps takes us there.
Is new to the area.
St. Joseph, Benton Harbor.
She came to Lansing back in May.
I moved here to be with family.
But arrived with a difficult situation.
I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And between having chemotherapy and radiation, I developed heart problems.
Susan was looking for proper treatment.
It really does mean a lot on a day-to-day basis, not knowing what I'm dealing with the cancer, that the heart issues are on an even keel.
And she found that treatment at Sparrow Hospital.
I'm very excited that this is where I am getting my care. So far, I'm doing very well.
Susan is a patient in the new Thoracic and Cardiovascular Institute, TCI.
This is an amazing opportunity for us at Sparrow TCI to have one office building where we can incorporate the entire cardiac experience for patients, whether that's diagnostic imaging, treatment, their office appointments, all in one centralized location.
TCI joins the Herbert Herman Cancer Center in the new Sparrow Plaza, which opened in July but celebrated the unveiling on Thursday.
Our patients really like the space. It's a beautiful building. We all have enjoyed moving in here. We consolidated from 2 campuses into one, so it's nice to have all the staff and all the patients at one location.
The unit provides better access to diagnostic, lab, and pharmacy services.
Having the ability to have new equipment and state-of-the-art equipment has allowed us to be better diagnosticians for our patients and then offer better treatments down the line.
Giving patients like Susan a peace of mind.
The people that I have met have given me great confidence and have straightened out my health for me.
And she has a message for anyone else struggling with their health care.
Keep a positive attitude. Every day is a new day, and be grateful that you have it.
In Lansing, I'm Michael Epps, Focal Point News.
The unit provides care to about 300 patients per day. And as for Susan, she's been out of the hospital since September. Pretty cool technology right in our own backyard.
It certainly is.
Well, coming up after the break, a new way for elementary students to learn help from MSU.
Plus, an MSU student was invited to show his own clothing brand in Paris during Fashion Week.
So picture this. You get into your car and the steering wheel reads your fingerprints to determine it's really you before you start the car. As you drive, the sensors keep track of your vital signs. They can tell if you're having a heart attack or stroke and call for help. Think how important that would be for a pilot flying a plane loaded with people. My students and I have been working on the kinds of technology that will make all this possible. It's called biometrics. Biometric systems evaluate faces, fingerprints, voice, and even mannerisms and how we walk. The applications for homeland security are tremendous. As more and more surveillance cameras are on watch all over the world, all the identifying information can be sensed and identities revealed and instantly linked to databases and no-fly lists to find the matches. In my lab, we have already created much of this technology to make it possible. Now we are at work to refine it, to make it more accurate and easier to use. Smarter, safer, and more secure. That's the world we are helping to create. That's the world we will have in the future.
Kids love playing video games, and now kindergartners in Lansing are learning while playing, all thanks to a partnership with PBS Kids, the Lansing School District, and researchers from the MSU College of Education.
Are you excited?
It's like Christmas here at Kendon Elementary.
Oh, it's always great to be able to start a Monday morning in a school full of happy children.
As kindergartners line up to get their very own play pads filled with fun games.
Here you go, Nathan.
And what kindergartner doesn't love to play games?
How many of you like to play video games?
But why give a group of kids a device to play games on while at school? It's all behind a research study being conducted by the Michigan State College of Education and the Lansing School District, along with partnerships through PBS Kids, WKAR, and the MSU College of Communication Arts and Sciences.
It was just seemed like a win-win for everyone.
The study will focus on kids' engagement with the math games, and MSU researchers will be looking for things such as
how often they're playing them, which games they're playing, how involved they are with that math content, and whether there's a relationship between using the games and increasing their math scores.
And the kids aren't the only ones with smiles on their faces.
The teachers are really happy too because now they have another resource in order to be able to help our kids learn.
The project will run until the end of the school year.
The research that comes out of it is really important to us, as we know that in order to become a 21st century learning environment, we really need to incorporate technology.
They seem really motivated to use the tablets, and so I think we're off to a great start.
In Lansing, Gabriella Galloway, Focal Point News. Kendon Elementary is just one of the Lansing schools that will be involved in this research study. Other area schools will be getting the play pads in the coming weeks.
African American culture is celebrated on campus, but with a message at this year's Black Power Rally.
And the Spartan Marching Band has a special performance planned for the halftime show at tomorrow's football game against Maryland. Chloe Keipel joins us in the Spartan newsroom with those stories and more in our on-campus report.
Incidents on the rise, some of MSU students gathered to highlight some of today's societal issues through song, dance, and theater. Focal Point's Treasure Roberts brings us the story from the 45th annual Black Power Rally.
Generations pass. We still kind of see the same things going on with the Black community. MSU students use their voices, their dances, and theatrics to tell the community how they feel being Black in America.
We try to make sure that our message is conveyed in a way that it will move people to ignite change.
Well, I feel hopeless at times, but I also feel like we just need to come together as a Black community to do what we can to fight these issues.
So they rather squeeze. Racial tension has been constantly rising in the U.S.
Today it's really a lot of chaos going on, and that's not okay.
Ain't nothing changed, but the date is this year's Black Power Rally theme. Organizers say it's because although time has passed, many racial issues have stayed the same.
Basically shows that the stuff that we was happening 100 years ago is still relevant right now in today's society.
MSU officials were present at the rally.
It shows not just her, but other administration that we're not going to stand for this. I know I keep saying that, but we're not going to stand for racism on this campus.
This is more than just a theater act, because though it's theatrical and yes, we're showing our talents, but it's meaning behind everything that we performed and everything that we did today.
Moving forward, Black MSU students are looking for more ways to have their voices heard. In East Lansing, I'm Treasure Roberts, Focal Point News.
Self-expression is something that Spartans strive to showcase, and one MSU student used his creative drive to design his own line of clothing, and it wound up being shown during Paris Fashion Week. Focal Point's Katie McCoy introduces us to Ashton Keys and his designs.
Yeah, so I started actually designing when I was 15 years old.
Self-expression is something Ashton Keys has made his passion.
So I started designing my own clothes in high school, and it kind of just continued with that each year.
And this passion led him to create 96, his own clothing line.
But I feel like I could be the face of streetwear, I could be the face of this type of industry.
Keys says he's always been interested in creative design and sharing his experiences through his clothes.
I'm inspired by my environment.
That inspiration and passion got him an invite to attend Paris Fashion Week this past September.
Paris Fashion Week was amazing. It was an eye-opening experience. It was a lot of work. I met a lot of cool people, got a lot of advice, did a lot of interviews and press. So I showed my fall winter from the 2017 coats, trench coat, bomber jackets. It's my favorite out of the ones I've designed.
He likes to stress his clothing line is not just a t-shirt brand.
It's a streetwear brand, and We create all types of silhouettes, from jackets to t-shirts to hats to sneakers.
The brand 96 got its name from the year 1996. The culture inspired Keys to create clothes that symbolize everything that happened in that year.
Culture on that year, and I feel like that was fruitful for me to use inspirations.
96 has expanded across the country and now has customers across the world.
I like to ship it myself though. Like, I like that connection to the brand.
Keys likes to use embroidery to create his unique work and create a common theme in each design.
Actually, it's from personal experiences. So like and it's weird because you don't see it in the actual piece, but everything is inspired by something that's happened to me in my life. What I realized is a brand is more than just the clothes that I design.
In East Lansing, Katie McCoy, Focal Point News.
The 20th annual East Lansing Film Festival was in town for 10 days. The festival showcased more than 30 different movies and short films from all over the world. Directors and actors came to talk about how they made their films and to give advice to young filmmakers who want to break into the movie festival. The festival took place in 2 locations, Studio C in Okemos and Wells Hall on MSU's campus.
Because movies are changing, because there's a lot of young people who don't go to theaters anymore or don't go to movies for the shows like this, and so we have to figure out how to to step into that next phase, and we're just thrilled to see as many people as we've seen here tonight. It's just wonderful to see that movies aren't gone yet.
Can't travel around the world to see some culture? How about bringing the culture here? The annual Global Festival, put on by MSU students and Greater Lansing community members, is a chance to see all sorts of cultural experiences from around the world. The festival showcased international exhibits, hands-on activities for kids, and live dance and musical performances.
So I just want to show people in America that different cultures exist around you, and I want them to be aware, because the media portrays America to be unaware of their own culture. So I want, or different cultures, I mean. So I want people to be aware.
Speaking of world cultures, the Spartan Marching Band is reaching across the world for this weekend's halftime show. Focal Point's Ryan Cole takes us to global Africa on the band practice field.
Spartan Marching Band always picks it up a notch when the calendar hits November. But this year, the band is taking it a step further. The band's latest show, a cultural performance based on
It's a global Africa.
Ben Ayeti is the artistic director of the Ghana Dance Ensemble. He's in Michigan to choreograph the band's show.
I taught them all of the African movements.
The show includes MSU choirs, dancers, student athletes, and more.
But they did really well, and they are very cooperative. I'm so surprised.
The show is the beginning of an 18-month celebration at MSU. A celebration of a relationship between continent and university.
So we are trying to choreograph things that you'll see a lot of African stuff in the halftime show.
Spartan Marching Band's 300 members rehearsed this show for 2 weeks leading into the Penn State game.
To be honest with you, they are all wonderful because it takes some people quite some time to get those stuff that I.
However, the show had to be postponed due to a weather delay in the football game against Penn State. But Ayeti believes it will still dazzle the crowd.
I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes one of the top ones that they've done so far here. And I know that it will be one of the best.
In East Lansing, Ryan Cole, Focal Point News.
The band will perform the rescheduled show and honor seniors at tomorrow's Maryland game. That's what's happening on campus. I'm Chloe Keipel. Katie, Gabriella, back to you.
Thanks, Chloe. MSU football traveled to Columbus for a big game against Ohio State last weekend.
And men's basketball had an early season test this week. Michael Epps joins us at the sports desk with a preview.
That's right, there's no bigger test than playing the #1 team in the country. We'll show you how the Spartans fared against top-ranked Duke, up next on Focal Point.
When do we give up? When do we just close our eyes and say, that's it? This water's too polluted. This disease too far along. To a Spartan, the answer is simple. Never. Because Michigan State was founded on the belief that our purpose is to make the world a better place. And when you're open to unconventional thinking, you value people's differences and are willing to work harder, push farther, and forge true partnerships. Then and only then can you solve the world's toughest problems. Better, faster. Like renewable energy, clean water, Parkinson's disease, and fighting malaria. Things Spartans work on every single day, all without fanfare. Because we know our true triumph lies in the impact we make on the world around us. And after all, if we don't do it, who will? Spartans will.
There are moments of triumph, of discovery, and achievement. But what makes these moments possible? It's the early mornings, the late nights. It's having the will to persevere. So let's take a moment to celebrate. But more importantly, let's salute the will it takes to get there. Spartans will.
When I was green, greener than the hill, where flowers grew and the sun shone still. Now I'm darker than the deepest sea. Just hand me down, give me a place to be.
Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Michael Epps with this week's sports. When Miles Bridges announced he was returning for his sophomore season, he was immediately labeled a National Player of the Year candidate. Well, he wasn't the only candidate out on the court as number 2 Michigan State took on top-ranked Duke. We start in the first half, MSU showing great ball movement. Matt McQuaid finds Nick Ward down low. He puts up the nice reverse layup as the shot clock expires. The Spartans go up 1. Here comes the Duke Blue Devils. That trap defense causes problems, and Trevon Duval is going to come up with the steal here. Tried to find Cash Swinson. Duval goes all the way for the dunk. Izzo calls those touchdowns for turnovers, and now Duke goes up 1. Then at the end of the first half, as time is expiring, Duval is going to take it up the court. He's looking for somebody, finds Grayson Allen, chucks up a shot at the logo. He sinks it right before halftime. Unbelievable shot, and Duke goes up 4. These two teams traded blows all game long. On the fast break, Cassius Winston finds Ward again, puts up the layup and the foul. Unbelievable play. The bench loves it. Izzo doesn't look too happy, but Ward's free throw ties the game at 60. Later in the half, Duval with another sensational play. He splits the double team, puts up the layup for 2 of his 17 points. Unbelievable game. Then off of Miles Bridges' turnover, Duval with another play, takes it coast to coast for the score. The Spartans fall apart down the stretch, lose a tough one to top-ranked Duke, 88-81. Focal Point's Griffin Wasik has more from Chicago.
Before Michigan State and Duke tipped off in the Champions Classic, Tom Izzo had 2 keys to the game: turnovers and rebounding.
And never in a million years did I think we'd get out-rebounded like that. I hold them to 39%. They were 30% the first half, 27 from the 3, and the only way they scored was on the missed shot.
That was the vocal points on us losing the game is rebounding and turnovers. We knew we're a big team, and they're a big team too, so they out-toughed us today.
And I thought, their defense, but a couple of those passes were, as you say, thrown right to them.
Played really bad, and we lost by 7, so
we're going to work on that a lot.
I'm thinking that if we play a little bit better, we make 1 or 2 less silly mistakes down the stretch, we win the game.
I'm just more worried about, making sure that we learn how to, move on, but also learn from our mistakes because, this is the thing that we can't have, reoccurring throughout the season.
I needed to be way more aggressive. I feel like if I didn't get aggressive in the second half, we would have lost by way more. And that's what my teammates need from me. They need for me to be aggressive on offense and on defense, also on rebounding too.
The Spartans had 17 turnovers and were out-rebounded 46-34, conceding 25 offensive boards. From the United Center, I'm Griffin Wasik, Focal Point News.
The Spartans look to rebound against Stony Brook this Sunday as part of the Phil Knight PK80 tournament. Tip-off is at 4 p.m. Now over to football. MSU's win over Penn State and Ohio State's loss to Iowa put the Spartans and Buckeyes in a tie at the top of the Big Ten East. With both teams squaring off this past Saturday, the winner takes control of their own destiny in the path to the Big Ten championship. The Spartans traveled to Columbus looking to be the first team to win at the Horseshoe since MSU back in 2015. But the Spartans had trouble in this one from the start. Opening drive, Brian Lewerke's taken down for the sack outside of field goal range, so the punt unit comes on. Now Ohio State gets their turn. Mike Weber takes the handoff, explodes through the line, splits the secondary, and he's in for the score. Early 7-0 lead for the Buckeyes. Spartans struggled to put together first downs in this game, so the Buckeyes get the ball back as the first quarter winds down. JT Barrett takes it himself, puts it in for a 14-0 lead, and it's just a whole lot more of that in the second quarter. At the end of the quarter, Matt Coughlin's going to put up this field goal for Michigan State's only points of the game. 35-3 at the half, 48-3 the final. Ohio State rolls over the Spartans. Griffin Wasik has the reaction from Columbus.
Michigan State struggled on both sides of the ball in its 48-3 loss against Ohio State. The Spartans had 195 yards of total offense and gave up 524 yards to the Buckeyes, 334 of those yards coming on the ground.
Something happened to us today too. Turnovers, not being able to run the ball, not being able to stop the run.
Frustrating whenever we've been doing such a great job of stopping the run, and then they get out. Straight sprints.
Well, I don't think we threw the ball effectively. Last week he was on top of it. This week, not so much.
You got to play better. You got to step up to the stage when it's there with a chance to be able to go to the Big Ten championship. We got to step up and play better than what we did. Even if this is a very good team, but we got to step up and just play like we have been playing for the past couple of weeks.
We're not going to Indy, but there's other great things to do. There's still more to accomplish. There's more to add to their resume. There's more games to play as far as guys trying to continue on.
There's going to be something to learn from every experience our guys have. We've got a lot of young players, but some of it you just got to play better too. And we'll learn our lessons in those areas.
And obviously, there's still some work to be left, and there's still some bowl game and all that stuff to be able to do. So we're still ready for the rest of the season.
The Spartans are now 7-3 overall and 5-2 in conference play. From the Horseshoe, Griffin Wasik, Focal Point News.
Maryland comes into East Lansing with a 4-6 record and a 3-5 conference mark. Kickoff is set for 4 p.m. on Fox. The MSU men's soccer team had a phenomenal regular season but suffered a surprising loss to Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament quarterfinals. The early exit didn't seem to worry the NCAA selection committee as the tournament selections were announced on Monday. The Spartans earned the 7th overall seed, which also comes with a first-round bye. MSU gets to play on their home field on Sunday and will take on Virginia Tech, who defeated Air Force in the first round. Home field advantage is key considering Damon Rensing's club has lost just one game in the past 2 seasons at DeMartin Stadium. Their game against Virginia Tech is set for 1 p.m. at DeMartin. So we saw the men's basketball team travel to Chicago. The women's team got to stay home this week, and they squared off against Oakland on Monday. The Spartans were coming off a big win over Robert Morris last Saturday, and they defeated the Golden Grizzlies 95-63. Shea Colley was 1 assist shy of a triple-double, and Taya Reimer put in 20 points and 4 blocks. The Spartan women stay home for their next game as they take on the College of Charleston on Sunday at noon. And that's what's happening from the sports desk. I'm Michael Epps. Katie, Gabriella, back to you.
Thanks, Michael. And finally tonight,
American Idol is coming back, and one of our own Focal Point members is headed to LA to sing for the judges. Macy Krupasevich has been singing before she could even talk. American Idol has always been her dream, and she can't wait to show the judges that she has what it takes through countless hours of rehearsal and preparation. She says she's ready. Macy will be singing the song When a Man Loves a Woman. Her voice coach is Matt Gerard, who took 5th place on Idol a few seasons back and is confident in her abilities.
I wanted to give Macy some advice for her Idol audition. I guess if I wanted to, I would tell her to be herself, have fun, show her strongest qualities when singing, and just go out and kill it like she knows she can. She's awesome. She don't need advice from me.
We want to wish Macy the best of luck with her auditions. American Idol premieres on ABC March 11th, Sunday.
And that's our show for tonight.
We want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. We hope you have a chance to spend the holiday with loved ones.
We now leave you with the sounds of the Silk Road Chinese Orchestra. Good night.